I looked at Joe Biden as a corporatist moderate Republican. And to me, that's what I kind of expected him to be. And so actually things like the infrastructure deal, the big Build Back Better, I was sort of surprised he was even trying to tackle those things, the tax credits, the stimulus checks, even sending free tests, for COVID, et cetera. We could be
Right.
doing a hell of a lot more than all of these little crumbs, as I call them. But I didn't have a pretty high bar for him. The last person I had high expectations and hopes for was President Obama. And I want to bring him into this because I want to go back to what you had just said about the public option. So, as someone that has been very active in the single payer healthcare movement since I was 17 years old, I was so excited when Barack Obama was running in the primary. I actually met him when he ran in the primary. He came to Pittsburgh and I got to shake his hand. This was before he was Barack Obama, right? He was just running. And he spoke that day about Medicare for all, about single payer healthcare. And I was like, this is my dude. Like, I am so excited. We're finally going to get this, like super naive, right?
Right.
And then as he continued on the trail, it went from Medicare for all, single payer. Then it was, okay, we're gonna work towards that. Then it was public option. And then he gets in office and it was the same thing. We never heard it again. And we're lucky we got the crumbs that became Obamacare, which I look at as a band-aid on a gaping wound, right? So for me, was I surprised that Biden didn't bring up healthcare for all after he was in? Hell no. I was
Mhm.
surprised he brought it up as a single payer, or excuse me, as a public option at all. That was more shocking to me that it would even come out of his mouth. So unfortunately, when I look at the laundry list of things that we need in this country, and I would say healthcare for all is the top one, if not, second, right? Maybe next to housing. Um, I'm never surprised because I don't think people truly understand how big pharma and big healthcare has paid, bought and paid our for our government. Like there, as long as we have money, outside money being able to pour into our elections, right? If we do not have campaign finance reform, we will never get healthcare for all, period. That's my opinion.
No, I think that money in politics is the single determinant for like why things just don't ever happen
100%.
as far as, the benefits of the average person. And so, yeah, I could easily make, several videos in a row talking about all the
Oh,
different things that I'm upset about with the Biden administration. But I think what it comes down to is just a fundamental belief that I have
hmm.
that the people should be holding accountable the people who they are
Hmm.
voting for. I think that the country would be better off if Republican voters would actually hold accountable Republican politicians, and I think that we would be better off if Democratic voters would hold Democratic politicians accountable. They need our votes. They absolutely need our votes. They can't
Yeah.
afford not to have them. And being criticized from the other side, it never really matters. You can
No.
just tune that out all day long. Who cares if the other side's upset? But your own
Right.
base being upset, that should matter. So when I criticize the Democrats, it's from a place of like, hey, I'm voting for you. Like I am your
Totally.
constituent. I am your
That's right.
voter. Like this is not, just some like baseless attack. I went to the ballot and I put your name in there last time around.
Mm.
And you said you were going to do this thing and you did not do this thing. I am very upset. You need to hear me about this. And so that's kind of like why I wanted to talk about what some of the things are that we are just not happy about. Because I think that in my mind, again, just idealistic world here, we need to
Hmm.
be expressing what our frustrations are if they're ever going to change. Because if not, what incentive do Democrats have to change if their voter base doesn't come out and say, hey, we're upset right now about this?
I think it goes beyond that, the frustrations and complaining, on air, letting people know to our friends, to our colleagues online. Um, I'm a solutions driven journalist. And for
Mhm.
me, we've got to talk about action steps that people can take. And the reality is, the Republicans have done an excellent, excellent job of playing the long game. They have organized and they attacked it in the local districts first, which was so smart. And the Democrats, we get criticized, and for good reason, that we come out every 4 years to vote for the president. And we've kind of abandoned local elections. And what we're now learning much, much too late, well, some of us already knew this, but many of us are learning this much too late,
Yeah.
is that everything is local. Politics begins in your backyard. It begins in your home. And so I think it's one thing to talk about and educate people on what is going on. And I think that's what we're doing here right now, and what you do with your show and with your wonderful work that I love to follow. And I
Thank you.
think the second step after that is, now we got to organize. And we've all got to pick a battle. What is a thing? We all can't do everything, but we all can do something. What is the issue that just gets you going, right? For me, it's healthcare was a big one. And now for me, the secondary one that I've become more impassioned about are labor rights. So I think everybody has to find the thing that gets them off off their couch and on their feet and doing something. Or you're right, we're just spinning our wheels, and it's just like masturbation at a certain point.
Oh, I wasn't gonna go there, but that's but you definitely went there. That's okay. So here's the thing. Let's kind of come back to the election a little bit.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, one of these two people will be the next president of the United States. I want to talk about Kamala Harris first.
Okay.
She gets, inducted as the first female president of the United States in January if she wins. If that happens, what do you think her administration looks like? There's no way that you can know this. There's no way that you would like have the ability to foresee into the future. But do you think that her administration will be better than Joe Biden's, about the same? Will it be a step back? How do you think it'll be different? Like, what are your thoughts on what a Kamala Harris administration looks like?
I think it'll be diverse. And I don't just mean in terms of like gender and race and those kinds of identities, but I think she's going to have a lot of different political ideologies around her. I've heard her talk about the fact that she would be willing to have and open to having Republicans view their perspectives. I think she is open and willing to have the more progressive part of the party involved than her predecessor, because I think she realizes she kind of has to, especially in spaces like swing states where you have firebrands like Summer Lee, Representative Lee, who is here in Pennsylvania. She's going to need some of that energy and some of that credibility, I think, with the further left part of this this wing of this party. So from that perspective, I do think it'll be more diverse. I also feel if she is put into the position of president, I think she will be very mindful on how she's approaching her cabinet and who she's picking to sort of be the face for her. I think she's been very careful about her image and curating this throughout this entire short-lived race for her, because she really came in around 100 days. But my concern with both the candidates is that, and what I'm seeing in general as a journalist who interviews a lot of people in political roles, is they're doing less and less and less interviews with media that is not like a sounding board for them. And my concern is that if we continue to reduce the ability for the media to ask the tough questions, especially when we're hiring them for this position, that we're going to be in a situation where the politics in Washington really may stop representing or looking like what is needed around the nation in terms of recovery.
Thank you for watching this video of Independent Thought. If you liked the conversation, please go ahead and give the video itself a like, and be sure to subscribe for future episodes on the channel.